Hey everybody, welcome back to Feature Flashback. This is the show where we look back at exactly 10 years to the weekend and watch the films that came out, talk about how they've held up, or if it's our first time, if they're any good at all. And boy howdy, this week, I'll say we have a doozy.
It's quite a weekend this week.
Yeah. I'm Jacob Sanger, and our lovely host is...
Colin Spalton. That is me. Apologies for my mic not sounding as good this week. It stopped working mere moments before hitting record, so using the lovely laptop speakers.
Lovely. Hey, this is the kind of stuff that happens in the big leagues all the time.
Yeah.
That's podcasting, baby.
Yeah. Alright, but yeah, Jacob, you already kind of teed up this weekend. It's very much, last weekend we had a good weekend. I'd say Men in Black 3 and Moonrise Kingdom. Weekend before that, not as great, so it's kind of like a little pendulum swinging back and forth.
I noticed that too, which hopefully means next weekend it will be back on top.
Let's hope. I'm hopeful for next week.
Yeah. I was trying to remember what's next week, but you'll just have to wait and see.
You'll just have to wait for the end when we tease that, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about this weekend.
This week.
But actually, before we're talking about this weekend, Jake, you seen anything good?
Well, last night you and I went to go see Mad Max Fury Road on the big screen, which in just like I guess 3 years will be 10 years old.
That's gotta be insane that movie's 7 years old now. My God.
Yeah. But of course, y'all don't need me to tell you the movie is wonderful. 5 out of 5 stars. One of the best action movies ever made. Probably the best action movie of the 2010s. And although that same year Kingsman came out, and I really like Kingsman, but we're not here to talk about Kingsman.
I think those are my two favorite movies of that year.
Yeah.
If my memory serves right. Me
too. I was thinking back. I did like a film summer camp after I'd seen those two movies. I remember because it was a filmmaking camp, one of the counselors asked us all like, "What's the best movie you saw this year?" And I said I was the one that reminded everyone about Mad Max, and then I corrupted a few people to say Mad Max for their answer, and then he was like, "You're all wrong. It was Kingsman," and I was like, "Damn, that is good," but. History remembers me, sir.
Where's his podcast?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I actually think
they don't give these to just anyone.
This is neither here nor there, but I actually think... I can't even remember his name, but I think about him really frequently because I remember him saying when we were, like, working on our little short films, they were, like, 2 or 3 minutes, no dialogue. And he was like, we edited, probably like a total of 5 hours and called it a day. Didn't like touch color or sound. And he was like, 3-minute film. I could edit probably 24 hours. And I was like, doing what? And now like having gone through film school, I'm like, oh, okay. There's a lot going on. But yeah, have you seen anything?
Well, speaking of best action films of the decade, I've been on a run recently because seeing Mad Max in theaters again was just utterly incredible. But then also, you sat me down and we watched on Netflix RRR.
Yes!
So buck wild.
I love it so much. I've seen it... Last podcast, I had just seen it. Now I've seen it 3 times.
Yeah.
And I'm not slowing up. I'm about to go to Europe, as you know, to see some friends. And, and also see Europe. But I was like, would it be irresponsible of me to sit them down for 3 hours to watch this while we're in beautiful, picturesque Paris?
No, they need it. But I've seen that. But yeah, I saw RRR, which was unforgettable, and then I also saw Top Gun Maverick in IMAX.
Yeah.
Which I am going to have to drag you to see at some point, or you're going to have to see when you get back from Europe, because that movie was incredible. And I'm speaking as someone who does not really a fan of the first Top Gun. I think that movie is okay at best, but I don't know. This one, somehow, they took everything about the first one and made it good. Or not just good, they made it the best.
I really want to see it because I also am not a huge fan of the first movie. I famously said, I said, I said that it's a better soundtrack than it is a movie.
Yeah, it plays like a music video.
Yeah, and because we've got Take My Breath Away, Danger Zone, Mighty Wings, Lead Me On. Are there others? Playing with the Boys.
Well, it's funny because me and my girlfriend watched Top Gun the night before seeing Top Gun Maverick, and it's so funny because they play Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away probably like 4 or 5 times each.
For real.
It's so funny because it's basically just those 2 songs. And I think the actual soundtrack has more that's just used like for instrumental within the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maverick, like, it's up there with like Mission Impossible Fallout, I think. And I'd say Mad Max as like some of the best action put to screen in recent memory.
Yeah, I really want to see
it. It got to such a point that like the final action scene is so well done. It's so tense. It's so riveting. And I was holding my girlfriend's hand, and there was a point she literally had to like take my hand off because I was squeezing it too tight because I was so wound up and nervous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my dad saw it the other night and called me to tell me how amazing it was. So I was like, okay, everyone's saying it's like, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm like, I gotta see this. I can't call myself an action fan.
Yeah, even my mom saw it, and she doesn't see anything. She took my grandpa to see it, and she was like, it was amazing. I cried during it, like all of this amazing stuff. And I was like, oh, what did my grandpa think? And he said his comment was, well, it wasn't much of a story. And I was like, my grandpa will literally just will watch one movie that's in the DVD player like 5 times in a row and still forget what happened. So I honestly think that he just kind of forgot what was happening in the movie by the time they got to the end.
Yeah, it's not a complaint I've heard.
From the story, it's not gonna knock your socks off, but it does a good job kind of structuring like your action set pieces and getting like a very compelling kind of character journey through it, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah, what more do you need? I'm a little concerned about this Miles Teller customer. I feel like I've never enjoyed him in a film.
Even Whiplash?
I haven't seen Whiplash, actually.
Oh my god, Whiplash is so good. Have you seen Spectacular Now?
Mm-mm. So I guess
if we get 1 year from now, I think it comes out. So.
Is that the rom-com with Shailene Woodley, or not rom-com, but like a teen
kind of indie drama, or indie romance? I'd say. That one's really cute. Yeah, I like that one.
All right, I'll give it a try. Hey, Miles, you can still come on the show. It's all right.
No, if you come on, Jacob will slap you right in the face.
You'll just have to take my spot. I won't be able to stand the shame.
You can join me next week for my one-on-one interview with Miles Teller. But all right, Jacob, let's flash back.
All right, I'm strapping in.
We're going back to the weekend of June 1st, 2012. The big movie this weekend. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what number 1 this weekend is?
I think Avengers was dethroned already. So what did we do last week? It was I'm so bad at remembering the movies for some reason. Like I can literally just look back in my Men in Black. So the question is, did Snow White beat out Men in Black? And I'm going to say it did.
That is the question.
I'm going to say Snow White is number 1.
And you are correct. It made opening weekend $56 million.
Wow, twice its budget.
Basically the same amount that Men in Black 3 opened with.
Okay.
And then can you guess what number 2 is?
Well, it's probably not Piranha 3DD.
I would be shocked if it was.
Men in Black again.
Yes, it is Men in Black 3. Having a decent hold, and then after that we get Avengers, Battleship, and The Dictator, all
Nice.
holding on there.
All
And
alums.
then number 6 creeping up, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Yes. It can't be killed.
Holding strong. Um, and then we got a lot. Moonrise Kingdom added 12 theaters and went
Nice.
up. It's still making about $50,000 a screen.
Wow.
But if we go way down to number 25, we get Piranha 3DD.
Nice.
It did open in only 86 theaters.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so it made about $2,000 per screen. Yeah, there's not much to say about that. I don't know if that is a good opening. It's weird that this one did open limited. It doesn't feel like one that's like, all right, you build word of mouth and then push it out. It feels like it's like, okay, we'll put it out, try and make as much money without like having to put it in 3,000 screens.
Yeah, I agree. I'm honestly kind of surprised it went to theaters. It feels
that was my big surprise.
Yeah, it feels like a sci-fi movie to me or something, like a Sci-Fi Channel original or if I guess this was kind of before streaming really took off, but it feels like it could be a Netflix original or something.
Yeah, well, the big thing that that made it come to theaters is the 3D.
Oh yeah, did you
or the 3DD?
Heyo. But everyone, what are you talking about? This is the age of everyone having their 3D TVs from Best Buy so they can watch Avatar Blu-ray.
every night. Oh wait, you know what's weird about this box office? At number 19 is a movie that we missed, we didn't cover, but it's another Snow White movie.
Mirror Mirror?
It's Mirror Mirror with Julia Roberts.
I didn't remember that they came out so close to each other, except now that you say that, I'm like, I remember thinking that was weird at the time, that there were two Snow White movies. But I did forget which was which, because as I was watching this one, when I was waiting for the reveal of Snow White, I was like, Kristen Stewart? Isn't it supposed to be Lily Collins?
Yeah. Could it be Emily from Paris?
Soon it'll be Jacob in Paris.
Oh yeah, soon. But on the Snow White train, let's just dive into it. Snow White and the Huntsman. Jacob, what's your history with this movie?
So, this was my first time watching it, and I never had much of a desire to watch it. I will say, I remember when it came out and when the sequel came out, which I haven't seen, but it's called The Huntsman: Winter's War.
Yeah.
And I think it had like a 20 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems like Snow White's not in it, so it's like a spin-off of just The Huntsman.
The fan favorite character of The Huntsman.
Yeah. Which, do they ever say his real name?
I think they do. I don't remember.
I
just looked up Huntsman Winter's War, and Chris Hemsworth is listed as Huntsman.
Yeah. I just called him Chris in my notes. But yeah, I remember the trailers coming out, and I remember thinking they looked cool because I love fantasy, and I was like, oh, cool, fantasy movie. But then I must have heard they weren't good, or I was just like busy or something, because I never went and saw them. And I remember being like hearing people talk about it and being kind of like this is a movie people are actually seeing. But yeah, so I wasn't expecting a lot. Because I was like, 10 years down the line, I would have watched it if it was really amazing, probably.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your history with Snow White and the Huntsman? 2012 Snow White and the Huntsman.
Snow White and the Huntsman, I remember when it came out, I remember a lot of people kind of scoffing because it was Kristen Stewart and... Oh yeah, this is 2012, so this is coming right at the end of Twilight.
Yeah.
Twilight ends later this year. And I remember because everyone hated Twilight. It was the cool thing to hate Twilight, and because it was dumb and it was weird girl romance that was also kind of messed up, and the acting was bad, so everyone was shitting on that. But I remember people being like, it looked kind of cool, but then the Twilight girl showed up. I didn't care after that point. I feel like I remember a friend telling me when seeing the trailer before another movie. And I didn't really have much interest in seeing it, and then I think I saw it on TV however many years ago, and I remember surprisingly liking it okay. Like thinking it was I think it was like, passable. Like it had some decent action, some kind of cool stuff in it, but watching it this time, like I was like, okay, I remember none of this movie. Yeah. I didn't remember a single thing about it except like some visuals that kind of stuck out. Oh, I did watch the Huntsman Winter's War though.
Oh yeah.
Like a year or two after it came out, I think, just out of curiosity. I think also on TV, and that movie is so weird. But it's weird, but similarly boring.
Yeah.
So
that's what my biggest thing about this movie was I kept being like, why am I not more into this? Spoilers, guys. I didn't really like this one. But I was like, I was like, on paper, I should like this. It's like, I really liked how it was a, kind of darker take on, not dark, so much darker, but just like the fairy tale vibe. Like, but it still had that kind of like, kind of glittering, grandeur, or like especially later when they're in like the fairy woods and the the armor super shiny. So it was like I liked that it wasn't just King Arthur Legend of the Sword where everyone's in like leather and it's boring looking. Like the costumes were really cool. A lot of the designs were awesome. Like of the creatures, I really liked the troll and the there was like a bat thing that came out for a moment that looked cool.
Did you like the little fairies that looked like little golems?
No, actually, I thought they were going to be bad because they sussed me out so much. I was like, these guys can't be good. Yeah. And the way they just like climb out of a bird, I was like, are they supposed to be in its feathers or are they just emerging from a bird? Just clipping through CG bird. But yeah, I think like, cause I was like, the designs are cool, the world is cool. I had some questions because it seemed like such a fantasy world, but then at one point, Kristen Stewart recites the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It was so weird.
I was like, what? This kingdom is a kingdom of Christians?
It's a kingdom of Christians that's been ravaged by this dark witch. And then they're right next to dwarves and trolls and fairies. But Jesus still died in this world. He still died on the cross.
Yeah. 2 nights of Charlize Theron for us. Mad Max and this.
So, just a brief deal of the story is Snow White is born. Her mother dies. Her dad's really sad. He fights an army, finds a woman who's captured, brings her in, marries her like the next day.
Yeah.
Who's Charlize Theron. And then Charlize Theron kills the king after they're married. And then
which I had
sneaks her army in and discovers, oh no, she's a witch, all this stuff. But and then it leads to like a 20-year reign, however long. She keeps Snow White trapped in a tower.
The one design I didn't like, because I really liked the like PD and costumes and everything, but the one design I didn't like was her soldiers. I thought looked really silly. They have these weird like geometric helmets, and then they have like long ponytails, and it's just like they looked cooler when they were made of glass at the beginning. That's because for those of you at home who didn't watch this masterpiece, luckily I was gonna have to rent it, I thought, but luckily I was able to watch it on my dad's Stars account. So
lucky, I did have to rent this.
They're like these soldiers that they look like normal soldiers, but when they get chopped, they like shatter into glass because they're actually decoy solgers, so that she can sneak.
I did like that visual.
Yeah, that was cool.
They putting that in all the trailers.
Yeah, I was a little like, I think maybe my biggest problem is that it kind of feels like it was a longer movie and got like a lot of the important stuff chopped out. But I don't think I want to see that longer one anyway. Like, actually, that reminds me, when I was searching for it, I actually did find an extended edition, but I was like, ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, when I was renting it on iTunes, there were two options listed, but the extended edition was like 4 minutes longer.
Okay, so I probably wouldn't have cleared any. Well, I didn't need clearing up. I just thought like, especially at the beginning.
It seems like there's a lot that's just kind of cut out.
Yeah, it's just like they just like tell you stuff instead of showing it. Like, I mean, the big thing, oh, show don't tell, but whatever. Like, it's like they would just be like, and I'm fine with that in like a fairy tale in the beginning when he was like, this is how the story starts. I'm fine with that. That's the fairy tale thing. But throughout the movie, I feel like stuff would just happen, and then I would go, okay, I guess I'm just supposed to take that in stride. Like, I mean, we could go through it, and I'll point them out. But yeah, I just think I think its biggest downfalls, because even I think the performances were good. Like, they weren't, like unwatchable, and the dwarves were fun. For a second, I thought there were gonna be no dwarves, and I was upset. So I was excited when they showed up. But I think Chris Hemsworth does a good job. He's doing the whole time. He's doing like a Scottish accent.
His accent is all over the place because it seems like he's doing just regular his native like Australian, which seems like fine enough. But then there's points where it just like goes like too high into Scottish. It's a really weird mix he's doing. It feels like he just kind of flipped a coin each scene to see which accent he'd do.
I've been watching some like 80s fantasy movies because it's a forgotten and glorious genre. But I feel like they used to do a thing where the actors would just use their accents. So it's like, oh, this old wizard might be English, but the young knight might just be American. And like, it's kind of weird, but I think there's something fun about it too. If you're in like if you're already doing fantasy, it could have been funny if it was like Kristen Stewart's just American and he's Australian.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron's South African. That there should be some justice for Kristen Stewart, because I think she was better in this than she was in Twilight.
I think that's kind of my main takeaway watching this again 10 years later, is that because I remember like I was like 10, 12 when Twilight was the big thing, so it was like that's the girly thing, it's dumb, everyone hates on it, and I think I've gone from that to now, like, last year, I was rooting for her to win the Oscar for Spencer. She was the underdog pick, in my opinion. But, I can't
remember.
What?
Did she win? I can't remember.
No, Jessica Chastain won.
Oh.
So watching this now, realizing that, like, oh, Kristen Stewart isn't a bad actress. Just, like, she was in a property that was not... Anyone in that role was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Anyone in Twilight was going to be bad. I mean, like, we've seen Robert Pattinson, too, now. He's grown into a great actor. I loved him in The Batman. And so, I think it's been nice to kind of be able to look back and be like, okay, wasn't their fault. And I think she's pretty good here. I don't know if it's, like, perfect casting, but I think she has some good scenes in this.
Yeah. I think, and I have some. Another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is that right from the beginning, you can tell that they're trying to do like kind of an updated version of the Snow White story, because it's like, a lot of princess stories, but especially Snow White, are. I mean, I guess they're all kind of like this, but like it's kind of it barely makes the princesses characters. It's like she was the most beautiful in the land, and that's like her whole character. And then like she can sing to animals, which I thought was going to come into play, because in this movie there are several times where it's
really hoping for it to come into play.
Yeah, it seems like she like calms animals by like just like talking to them or like looking at them. So I thought they were going to be like, oh, she can control animals and they'll come and help her fight the queen. But no, that didn't happen. That troll would have been helpful in the fight, I'm just saying.
It definitely would have been.
Yeah, but the thing that weirded me out a little bit was that they were trying to like make her more of a character, which is good. They were like, but the first thing they say about her is they're like, she was beautiful, but smart too and confident, and it's like they just like tack things on.
They just have to say that. It's like, oh, believe us.
Yeah, and then it'd be like she was as known for her looks as she was for her go get her attitude or whatever. And like
I appreciate pick herself up by her bootstraps mentality.
Yeah, for her chutzpah. And I enjoyed that they were like doing that, but it just felt weird to me that they were like, we gotta still make the story all about beauty, but we can't have her be a nothing character. Like, it just felt like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, and it wasn't really working. Like, I think they could have just done the same thing, and if they made it like, and this just feels like kind of what they tried to do, but they didn't like really harp on it too much. But if they made it like, oh, just beauty, like the queen, that's bad, but beauty inside and out, that's good, which is kind of what they say, but it doesn't really come into play at all. It kind of just more becomes she's the good person and she's the bad person, and they must do battle.
Yeah, and that just ends in a sword fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one thing I did want to see if you picked up on, and just in connection to Mad Max, since we have Charlize Theron in this one. It's right when we kind of flash forward after she's taken over the kingdom, you see in the courtyard there's like a tiny like little waterfall coming over, and you see a group of citizens like fighting to get that, and I was like, George Miller was watching this and said, what if bigger?
That's so true. I didn't even think about that. I will say that's something else I like. As I liked when this movie would do weird stuff, like how the mirror, instead of just being like a face in the mirror, like in Shrek or like in Snow White,
it just kind of comes out as like forms a body.
Yeah, it's like there's a guy underneath a reflective reflective like sheet almost, and I thought that was like a really cool visual. And I liked that she was like bathing in milk because it was weird. And and there was like runoff from her chamber. Then there's milk spilling on the peasants, and I was like, "This is strange." It compels me though.
Yeah, it feels like it did feel like for the first part of the movie, I wrote in my notes, "So metal!" with like 5 exclamation points. Because it felt like they're really trying for that with the evil queen of just like her army is all black and there's like black glass and she bathes in milk and just like the way that they use her magic, it felt like this is like a fairy tale but cool. Like I felt like it was almost like it was trying very hard to be cool. It felt like they were trying to take a fairy tale and market it towards boys and or like young guys and try and get maybe like people who would like Lord of the Rings or Narnia or something like that. Just having the title, like you wouldn't have just called this Snow White. You wouldn't have called it Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It has to be Snow White and the Huntsman. We have to emphasize the guy in the story.
Yeah, there's a man, and you better believe he's hunting. I did think he was pretty cool in this. Like I liked. I do appreciate that. I feel like a lot of fantasy stuff, even though. Even The Hobbit, even though I love Lord of the Rings and I like The Hobbit a lot, but I feel like The Hobbit is guilty of this, where a lot of fantasy stuff I think will like make their designs of armor and weapons and stuff like way too complicated for the sake of being different, being, fantasy, cool, quote unquote. So I appreciated that in this movie. It was like, they still had colors and bright, fun stuff, and like the queen's crown was like kind of crazy, but that's like cool because she's the evil queen. But like with Chris Hemsworth and like the dwarves, it was like, he's holding an axe and it looks like a medieval axe, and it's fantasy, but it's not like, it doesn't have like 3 blades on it and they're not shaped weird, and like, so I appreciated that. Or like later when Snow White gets a sword, it's like a cool fantasy sword, but it's not like, gleaming, and it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys, like gleaming sword is sweet,
but she's just kind of wearing like armor. It's not like super overdone.
Which I appreciated. There were a couple moments where I was like, ruh-roh. Like later there's this character William who I didn't care for really, but later he's wearing armor too, and I feel like he has a little silly like Party City Knight helmet on. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, should we go through the plot of this dang film?
Yeah, might as well. So as we mentioned, it starts, Queen shows up, takes over the kingdom, traps Snow White in a tower. Why doesn't she just kill her? That's my first question.
Well, I guess I thought about that, and I think because she didn't realize that because I don't think she didn't get the prophecy that she will be her undoing until Snow White came of age, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I guess turned 18 or something. And so that was my reasoning, was that she just like was like, no point, you know, she's just a kid, no, it doesn't hurt anybody. Because then once once the mirror said she'll be the end of you, she was like, right, brother, go get her heart. By the way, her brother was
her heart out.
her brother was so funny looking. I thought
he does. He has a weird look.
He's like this like wrinkly British guy, like kind of a more slender, not slender, but like he's like Gordon Ramsay with a pointier face. And then he has like the He-Man haircut, like the
does.
page boy straight across the forehead. He has the Tessa Violet.
He has like the original like Lego Luke hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Like someone just popped that bad boy on top. And there's like a flashback later, and he has the same hair when he's a kid. But yeah, so the queen is like, right, gotta kill Snow White. Or did I skip past something? So she takes she takes over, and then Snow White grows up. She's been in a tower this whole time, like Fiona from Shrek. But instead of turning into a hideous ogre, she turns into a beautiful woman.
And, a beautiful young lady named Kristen Stewart.
And they like I think it's funny that like that was another strange thing. I know it's just how the fairy tale goes, but at the very beginning of this movie is the queen pricks her finger on a rose and the blood drops into the snow. And she goes, I wish I had a daughter whose skin is white as snow and lips as red as blood. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, I hope my kid is smart. I hope he likes Lord of the Rings. Like, anyway, I thought that was weird. But so she's
weird.
She's a beautiful lady now. She's all covered in mud and sludge. And has a dirty dress on, which I just realized has similar shoulders to like the classic Disney thing. So maybe they did that on purpose. But obviously,
probably
it's more
it's legally distinct.
Yeah, and it's more because hers in the Disney one are like big poofy things. These ones are more like they're not as crazy looking, and they're not as colorful. But anyway, they're like, P.S. Snow White is gonna be your end woman, and she's like, fuck. She's like,
I gotta get rid of this girl.
So she sends her funny brother, and her brother is like, I'm gonna be real creepy for a minute and like touch you and stuff. And then Kristen Stewart stabs him in the face with a nail that she got out of the wall, I think. And
then she makes her escape, and she's like being chased in the courtyard, and then there's like two birds that appear and like point her to a storm drain that she can get out, which I thought was gonna. They really half-assed the stuff with the animals in this movie, I think, as we mentioned. Like, just I had forgotten about that part, and it's like, they never really do anything with that.
Yeah, and she slides into the drain on the mud that was made from the milk, which I liked.
I wrote, because then she's like running through the like storm drain or sewer and gets out, jumps into the river outside, or jumps into the ocean outside the castle. And I wrote down, Snow White crawled through a river of shit and came out free on the other side.
Snow White climbed through 6 miles.
That's an equivalent of 6 football fields.
That was the weirdest part, was that she had that like that woman in like a fur bikini on her prison cell wall.
Yeah.
I actually did think that she was gonna tunnel out with the nail. I thought it was gonna be like Old Boy, where he carves away the bricks little by little. But instead it was Young Girl. And she, there's a little Old Boy joke for you guys at home. So she gets away. What happens? She goes into the water and she ends up in a forest somehow.
She escapes to the water, finds a random white horse just on the beach.
Yeah, I liked that. That was very like fairy tale to me.
Yeah, I like that too. It was funny though.
Felt like the never-ending story.
She rides it towards the dark forest to escape. She's being chased by the brother.
I hate the Dark Forest.
I hate the Dark Forest. Never want to go there again.
Man,
But
oh man.
there is a part that's like straight up a ripoff of Neverending Story, where the horse gets caught in like the bog water.
I thought that too. And the kid is like, Artax!
Artax!
And it's so sad.
Mm-hmm. How crazy is it that Artax got swallowed into the swamp of sadness? How sad was that dang horse?
You know, sometimes oats and an open range just isn't enough.
But I guess the reason for that is because you need some reason for her to be traveling on foot, and also you need a reason for the brother and the rest of them. They're not able to get through.
Yeah,
because they're not as skilled. But so then the queen says, "We need." The queen has some line about like, "My magic doesn't work in the Dark Forest."
Yeah,
just thrown out there.
Yeah.
And so they're like, get me someone that knows it. And so then cut to Chris Hemsworth being thrown out of a saloon.
Mm-hmm. Chris's backstory was confusing to me. But anyway, yeah, we meet him and he's getting his shit rocked by a gentleman. And I wrote down, I was like, this is the slowest fist fight of all time. Mm-hmm. I feel like.
And there's a weird line as well where he says, like, you owe me money for the ale and money for the girl.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, wait, does this mean the Huntsman has been partaken in a prostitution?
I think so. Because he's like a Han Solo type scoundrel.
Yeah. Which I think they should have leaned more into the kind of the Han Solo-ness of him.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be, and there is a little bit, but I thought it was going to be more of a, like, she brings out the good in him kind of thing. But he pretty much, well, we'll get to it in a second. But yeah, the reason I was confused on his backstory was because we learned that he's some kind of hunter. And, but also, like, I'm guess maybe he's like a bounty hunter or something, because I'm pretty sure a hunter in like olden days would probably have like a bow and arrow. I don't know how many deer he's hacking apart with his axe.
What I realized was driving me insane, because I was like, the hunter's classic weapon, an axe.
Yeah. Like
that you throw at a deer.
They could have changed it. They could have just been the woodsman and he could be a lumberjack, and that's why he knows the woods. But like
yeah.
But I guess then it wouldn't make sense why they send him after her. But anyway, that confused me a little bit. And then later he mentions, I came back from war, and I was like, what? And so like, was he a soldier for the king who got killed who got killed by Charlize Theron? Like, I was like, what war? And then also that would, if that is the case, that would make him, you know, if you're fighting in a medieval army, you're probably like 16, which would make him like 10 years older than Snow White.
Yeah. It's really weird, and from my memory of the Huntsman Winter's War, it just confuses everything even more.
Yeah, well, because I think Charlize Theron's on the poster, and she definitely, spoilers, gets killed at the end of this movie.
Yeah, that's the weird part about... Did you ever see the sequel to 300?
Actually, I was...
300 Rise of an Empire?
I was just watching it the other day. I watched, like, the first, like, half of it.
Yeah, well, because it's... From my memory of the Huntsman Winter's War, it's just like 300, where it, like, is both a prequel, a duringquel, and a sequel.
Yeah, that was confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it like, okay. So like she's alive because it's before, but then it, wait, that's so weird.
But then I think it's so weird. I think from the memory, because Emily Blunt is in the sequel, and I think plays like Charlize Theron's sister, which also confuses the stuff with the brother, because she's like an ice queen or something.
Awesome.
I don't know. But there's something with that. She's like an evil ice queen, and... is trying to bring her sister back. I think it has something to do with the magic mirror. But they also give the backstory that, like, because Emily Blunt has, like, trained this, like, expert army of huntsmen, and that's how Chris Hemsworth got trained.
Oh, okay. So he was fighting in the Ice War.
Yeah, obviously, with an axe.
Yeah. What was I about to say? Oh, I was just gonna say, like, because I remember from the trailers for the second one that there was still like some really cool creature designs. So I'm like, they need to get this like concept team and like prop department on a good project because they killed it.
Yeah.
But the story, man, is just
yeah. But so then the Huntsman goes after him.
Snow White.
Oh yeah, they convince him to go after because he has a dead wife.
Yeah.
And which I think in the prequel or in the sequel / prequel is supposed to be Jessica Chastain.
Wow.
Who was another one of like she was also like one of the Huntsmen and like fought with like a weird like double-sided sword that looked like a part of a branch.
Hollywood loves a double-sided sword.
But I think she was in that, and then I think like he thinks she's dead, but then does it. But I don't know how that lines up because they reveal in this one that Charlize Theron's brother tells Chris Hemsworth that he killed her.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how that lines up.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
But Charlize Theron says, "Oh, I can bring your wife back from the dead," but then he realizes that no, she won't. So then he helps Snow White.
Yeah.
Try and get to freedom.
Before that,
hijinks ensue.
Hijinks do ensue. But before that, he goes into the woods and finds Snow White in like 2 seconds.
It takes so quickly.
She's like she's just under a log, and he goes, "Right, come here."
They have that one part where she like some like powder pops up out of like a plant, and she's having like hallucinations.
Yeah.
So I guess she couldn't have gotten far.
True. Yeah. Geez, sorry guys. This movie is just riveting.
Yeah. That was the thing because I remember enjoying this movie okay, but watching it this time, I was like, the production design is cool, the effects are good,
yeah,
the acting's not horrible, the story is fine. But watching it, I was just like, I just was drifting to my phone. I was just started playing Tetris on it.
Yeah, it was not very exciting film. Even though there's like I feel like there's a good amount of like set piece action fantasy stuff. It just like I don't know. It wasn't. It's because I was just thinking about this the other day. That's like you can't like action for action's sake only gets you so far. It's like you need the story to like give a good reason for the action, and the actions to serve the story. But yeah. Oh, and then this other thing that was really stupid was the brother. Chris Hemsworth has Snow White, and she's like, "Please, no, they're gonna kill me. They want my heart." And he's like, "What are you gonna do with her? Tell me." And they're like, "What concern is it of you? Don't you want your wife back?" And he's like, "Give me my wife, and then I'll give you the girl." And then, like, Finn, the brother, is just like, "My sister can't bring people back from the dead, you idiot." And it's like, why would you tell him that? That's the only reason he's trusting you. And so he was like, "Oh, bet," and then left with Snow White. Well, also he, like, straight up swings his axe into the brother's gut, and then he's just fine. I guess magic. I don't know.
I think for him, he hit him with the backside of the axe.
Oh, okay.
Just for him, because he does it like twice. But to the other guys, he's like chopping limbs off.
Yeah. There's I liked like when Chris Hemsworth started fighting, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I thought he did a good job, and like the fight team did a good job with his stuff. Except there's a moment later where it's like when everything's on fire and there's like that village of only women. Also like Mad Max, the Vuvulini.
Yeah, true.
But he's fighting the brother again, I think. Oh no, yeah, I think it is. I think he's fighting the brother again. And like this always bothers me. It's like, I'm a simple man, have people swing and axes at each other. Just do good, simple choreography. But like he was doing this cockamamie bullshit where he was holding the head of the axe so that he was like swinging the handle around, and he was also holding it like reverse so the handle's like pointing up towards his elbow. And I was like, what do you hope to do? Like swing the sharpened metal at him. But I don't know. That was just weird. Other than that, I thought he did some good stuff. But yeah, so he runs off with Snow White, and then Uh, the queen is pissed.
The queen's upset. Oh, and Charlize Theron, great actress. We just watched Mad Max. She's incredible in Mad Max. I think as an actor, this is just me guessing. She really likes to go hammy. Because especially, I kept thinking of because she's been in 2 Fast and Furious movies at this point, and she's really hammy in those movies.
No, in this one, I felt like every scene she'd be like, start low, and then be like, I am yelling!
It was the exact same thing as like Eddie Redmayne in Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, I never saw it, but I know he's Mr. Whispers.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you wish to say that to me?
That sounds awesome. I should check that out.
So good. But so we meet the dwarves. We meet 8 dwarves at the start of it.
I was thinking there seemed like more than 7.
Mm-hmm. But so we meet them, and a star-studded cast of the dwarves.
I know, right? That was weird.
Yeah. We got Nick Frost. We got Toby Jones. We got Ian McShane. We got Ray Stevenson. We got that guy who was in The World's End and also the villain in Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Short guy, and then, the one I was most excited to see, Bob Hoskins. Love to see him. This was only a few years, I think, before he died.
I need to look up who that is. I know the name.
He's the one who's blind. He was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was the one. He was like their like seer. He was like, Snow White actually is awesome. Trust her. And they're like, okay.
But yeah, they make a deal with them. They go to their kind of secret place that they're hiding that's full of nature and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
and there's a moment straight out of Princess Mononoke with the giant like spirit deer.
Yeah, I thought he was awesome. Or she, they. It was like it's this big deer, white deer with and its antlers are branches. It looked really cool. Mm-hmm. I think it's shit rocked by an arrow.
It does. But that's another thing. It's just like that doesn't really come back into play. I guess they use that as like, oh, this is why the dwarves are like so much on her side, because they see like the spirit of the forest or something is behind her.
The Bob Hoskins dwarf says she is the one, and I was like, no, what does that mean?
Yeah.
like
love unexplained chosen one narratives.
Like if it had been now she can lead all of the fantasy creatures against the queen, that would have been something. But it was just like, okay, she's the one, I guess. Mm-hmm. Neo.
The brother attacks again. They kill the brother this time. They kill the brother and they kill one of the dwarves.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be like the youngest one. Oh, I think his name was Gus.
Yeah. And I was surprised I didn't see it coming because he has like a sweet moment right before it where they're all sitting around a campfire singing, and he teaches Kristen Stewart to dance, and and it's kind of a cute scene. I think there's one part where he just goes, hug, and then they hug. But yeah. He also looked like, I think out of all of them, looked the most like a dwarf from the Hobbit movies. Like his hair and stuff. I actually really liked how they did the dwarves. Like I thought they all had like fun looks, but not being too crazy. Like some of the Hobbit some of the dwarves in the Hobbit are a little out there. I liked them though, but I did think it was interesting that like the CG they did is pretty flawless, but it also gives me a little bit of weirdness because that's like I know these actors are all like 5'6" to 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And their heads are all on little people bodies. So I was like,
is that how they did it? Because I was always confused. I was like, are they just like walking on their knees and they're CGing out their legs? I couldn't tell.
Yeah. I think sometimes they were on their knees, like if the shot was just their shoulders up. They were like, just put them down. But I think when it was their full body, I think it was a scale actor that they then like switched the heads on somehow. We need a VFX artist to react to the effects in this were honestly really cool. I thought there was only one that I didn't like, which was later. There's a moment where William seems to be betraying Snow White, but it's actually the Queen in disguise. And when he morphs into the Queen, it's so strange looking. Like it's it's a Xbox 360 graphic for a moment.
Which I mean, we can get to that part because that is the iconic Snow White part.
Oh yeah, the apple
because William, who is I guess the son of like the Duke, who I guess served Kristen Stewart's father, and so he's kind of been leading like a bit of a rebellion. William, who's played by Sam Claflin.
He looks really familiar. I didn't know what he was in though.
Yeah, he was in. What was he in?
Has he in that movie with Daenerys where he's in a wheelchair?
Yes. He's in Me Before You. He's in Hunger Games. He's in the second one after this.
I've never seen it. We'll get to it.
But yeah, he's in things. He was in something else I forget.
My Dreams. Dreamboat.
Oh, you know it. So he's kind of been on his own hunt to find Snow White. They finally get reunited, and they have a moment together when they're walking in the woods, and they haven't seen each other since they were children. And there's a little point in the beginning before they flash forward where you see him like pick an apple and eat it, and then Snow White grabs an apple too, and eats it, takes a bite, and then you realize it's the poisoned apple.
Yeah.
And I know just Snow White heads losing their minds when the apple showed up.
And after she bites it, I thought this was a nasty effect. It grew about like a full inch of mold on it really quick.
I know.
It was so nasty. I kind of thought it would have been more interesting if William really was evil, because I was like, because now I was like, we have like a love triangle. Is she going to be with the Huntsman? Is she going to be with William? And if it was like actually the one who is the pretty boy from the kingdom is bad and the rough and tumble guy from the woods is good, would have been something. Also, I realized I think part of the reason I like these costumes was because at one point when we first meet William, he's essentially wearing Aragorn's exact costume. Yeah. The difference being the number of stitches in the shoulder.
Yeah, it's funny though because they basically turned the prince from like, I don't know the fairy tale, but I know the Disney movie, and because in that he just kind of shows up and it's like, "Hello, I am the prince. I'm here to kiss you."
Yeah.
And they turned him now he's like the archer character, because every group has to have your archer character.
Yeah, including the brothers group, because that's how he finds them. Is he pretends to be a member of Silly Hair Finn's crew. He goes, "Do you need a bowman?" And he's like, "We have a bowman." And then he kills him, and he's like, "Do you need a bowman?" But something I wanted to talk about is they meet up with William, I think, at the Village of Women. And I guess their story is that their husbands are off fighting, and so they're all just by themselves out in this like bog. But what I thought was actually really cool world building thing was that they know that the queen steals women and drains their youth to stay young and takes their beauty. So I did like the whole beauty thing in this regard, because then all the women have like scars on their faces because
they did to themselves. Yeah,
they cut themselves so that they wouldn't be classically beautiful and couldn't have their souls or their youth stolen, which I thought was like, that's kind of weird and twisted and cool. But
it's interesting. It's something interesting.
Yeah, it did give me a problem though, a plot hole, because I was like, wait, just put Kristen Stewart under the knife for a moment. We solved this whole problem.
Put her a little nick on the chin.
Yeah. Oh no, she has some cat whiskers. I can't take her heart anymore. She looks like Naruto.
Yeah, but then that's weird, because they say she's like the most beautiful, but that seems to be tied into the fact that she also is like in tune with like the spirit world, I guess, or at least with nature. Because the way there's like the spirit deer that comes to her and all the animals that listen to her. Yeah. So like, is that why it's because she's beautiful? Like, What would happen if she wasn't beautiful?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, you definitely could have cleared up some of their lore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes with stuff like this, I always wonder if there's, like, a writer somewhere that has just, like, pages and pages and pages of lore, and they were like, okay, that's great, put it in a 2-hour movie. And he's like, no! Or maybe they just didn't care, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like with this, the main problem... Well, the main problem with a lot of these kind of, like, adaptations of classic fantasy stories is that you can only go so far away from the text that people know, because otherwise it just becomes unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And so you can have these like interesting things, but you can't go too far into it, otherwise it's gonna be too different. You have to have, you have to have Snow White biting the apple. You have to have these things in it.
Dwarves.
You gotta have the dwarves.
Yeah. The prince. There's a prince. Well, he's the duke's son, but same difference. Yeah. That actually, her getting poisoned to her waking back up, a la the Disney classic, was actually probably my favorite sequence of the movie, because I felt like I was like, what a good way to reveal that it's been Chris all along, because then, we know that she can only wake up from true love's kiss. So the prince is going to kiss her and nothing happens. And then Chris Hemsworth is going to kiss her and she wakes up and it's going to be sweet. And I was like, that's actually nice. I like that. But the delivery of it, execution of it was a little strange, because they don't ever explain true love's kisses, I don't think. Yeah. So basically these two guys are just like, might as well try kissing her, innit? So the first guy kisses her, and that's like right when she dies. So I'm like, you could say, oh, he's like, oh, fuck my girlfriend, like, and it's like a sad thing, I guess. But then I like this part. They carry her, it's like ironic. They finally make it to the Duke, but she's dead, and they carry her on this like pallet, and it's like kind of a cool scene. All the dwarves come in, and then Chris Hemsworth goes to her. Now she's out of her rags. She looks like the princess again, but she's dead. Ironic, and he gives her some speech about how his wife died or something. And then he kisses her and she comes awake a little bit later, which is like a cool fairy tale thing. But again, I'm like, someone just needed to explain the kiss magic, because otherwise he's just like, I should go kiss these cold dead lips before I head out. I'd be crazy not to kiss this cadaver.
I didn't even think about that, because that's requiring your knowledge of, oh, that's what happened in Snow White,
Yeah.
Is true love's kiss can undo it.
Yeah. And then I also had beef with the true love's kiss, because I love a fairy tale romance, Princess Bride was one of my favorite movies of all time. But you think it's going to be that, like, she ends up with Chris Hemsworth, is what I assume, over William, but she doesn't end up with either of them, which is fine. Yeah. But I'm just like...
But it's weird in a movie where you have, like, true love's kiss.
Yeah, it feels like she should have been like, now that I'm queen, I'll need a king, and I pick the Huntsman. But, like, instead he kind of just, also like Mad Max, kind of just looks at her through the crowd and, like, nods.
Yeah. The ending is weird. We can get to that. But so... She wakes up from that, and then she gives a big speech to everyone. It's like, we need to attack the queen today, because we will not live in this whatever. I thought that scene was fine.
Well, I don't want to be too hard on this movie, because it's pretty harmless all in all. But as the connoisseur of movies in which they give the big to battle speech, I thought this was maybe the worst one I'd ever seen. I was like, what is happening? The first few lines didn't make any sense to me. She was like, saying something about iron writhing in the soul or something. I was like, okay, go off, Shakespeare. Anyway.
But yeah, so then they decide they're gonna go into battle, and it is I think it's a pretty cool scene that happens next of, like, so they all get on their armor, they get on the horses, and they're gonna attack the queen's castle. Yeah. And I do like the image of all the horses on, like, on the low tide kind of beach.
Yeah, that was really
cool. Filmed well. And it was cool to see, because you could tell, like, they actually did it, at least considerably. It wasn't just completely like CGI washed over.
Yeah, and it's like there's catapults going off, so there's like these big sand explosions going up around them. It looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And also just the idea of a castle you can only reach at low tide is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she looked really cool in her armor, like a Joan of Arc type figure.
Mm-hmm.
But I did wish they give Chris Hemsworth some armor, because he's just showing up in his leather outfit to fight evil knights.
I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, they go and they have a big battle, and then Kristen Stewart goes up the tower to fight the queen, her one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that part. Like, I felt like her spiraling up the stairs looked cool. And she still got her dwarf sword, which I liked. And then I felt like the fight with the queen was a little anticlimactic, I have to say. I agree. There was a little bit of a payoff, because Chris Hemsworth, when he first takes her under his wing, tells her how to stab someone, and then that's exactly what she does. He's like, don't let go until you see their soul in their eyes.
Oh my god.
And so that's how she gets there. But earlier we know she's impervious to being stabbed, because someone tries to stab her. Mm-hmm. But I like the moment Kristen Stewart reminds her right after she stabs her that because she is also beautiful, she's allowed to draw blood or something.
That part, I was like, did I miss something? Because they do clearly establish someone stabs the queen and it doesn't work, but then at the end Kristen Stewart does, and it works. I was so confused at why. I figured there'd be something with her destroying the mirror, or just something with that. But to me, the ending felt very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
and also because we mentioned why is there not more of the fantasy stuff, or her having the animals help or something? And if the movie is in this weird kind of middle place of trying to be super medieval and have fantasy elements, there's a troll that shows up, there are dwarves, but it feels like they're all just kind of sprinkled in. It doesn't feel, I could never really get a sense of how much fantasy is in this world, whereas something I don't know, the Green Knight, you get a better sense of that.
Yeah, it's just I just wish they had done more with it. It had the trolls show up at the end, or it could have been interesting if she goes to the Duke and he's like, nah, she's too strong, we can't fight her, and so she has to prove that she's got what it takes to be queen, and so she this wouldn't work because they established that all the dwarves are dead, but it'd be cool if she was well, dwarves like me, and so she raises a dwarf army to go fight the queen. But that is not what happened.
Snow White and the 7,000 dwarves.
Yeah. But yeah, and then it just kind of ends with her getting crowned queen, at the end of A New Hope. They're just in a big room.
And then she looks out at all the people she's met along the way, and they all just kind of nod.
Snow White. And also the one that was kind of weird to me was she meets one way we learn what the queen is doing is through this mostly pointless character named Greta, who's just this village girl that comes into that is in the cell across from Snow White, and she's like, oh, I got taken by the soldiers, and then she goes she gets taken up to the queen's tower, and the queen just sucks all her youth away, and she turns into an old lady, which was a cool effect. But then at the end of the movie, she's at the coronation, and it is young again, and I was like, what about all the other women this happened to?
It's really weird. There's so much that's just undefined in this movie.
Yeah.
It feels like it was kind of thought over once over.
This is a soft magic system. There's no clear rules.
Yeah, and I was thinking, because this is at that point where they were like, all right, we're doing, dark fairy tales, and I think the kind of thing that brought that on was Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version, because that one takes a weird story and tries to make it all like, all right, Alice now has a sword and she fights a dragon at the end.
Yeah. Which, like, yeah, that movie's weird.
And because I did watch the trailer before renting it on iTunes, and it says, from the producer of Alice in Wonderland.
Oh.
And then I think I was like hovering over the Huntsman Winter is War, and then it says, from the producer of Maleficent.
I was gonna say, this has Maleficent vibes about it. Which I have never seen, but it gives me a similar vibe of like cool designs and creatures, but maybe not an amazing movie.
Yeah, because it is like Maleficent fits in with that. You have like Jack the Giant Slayer, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Yeah, that one kind of rules.
I've never seen it, but it seems up my alley.
Because that one they lean full into it. That one's like R-rated.
Yeah,
they go all in on that one.
They've got like rapid fire crossbows and shit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who plays Gretel in that. It's Jeremy Renner, right, as Hansel?
Yeah. And Gemma Arterton?
Right, yeah. Prince of Persia.
Yeah. Prince of Persia's own.
Was she, computer? Show me, Kingsman cast. Was she?
Yeah, she was in The Kingsman.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's Snow White and the Huntsman. What did you think about this film overall, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, I remember liking it okay on TV. I guess similar to Men in Black 3, like, if you watch this on TV, like, it won't hurt.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't hurt this movie much if you don't think about it, if, like, you have it on the background, which I think is what I did last time.
Yeah.
Because, like, it looks good. The production design is kind of going off. The effects are good. But just the story falls really flat. The pacing's really boring. And yeah, I think I already mentioned, like, I was just like, without even thinking, like, I just kind of blinked and my phone was already open and Tetris was playing.
There was one moment where I got up at like, I got like a good amount of sleep, but right before this went and got I won a massage in a survey, so I went and got a massage. I felt a little guilty. I never got a massage before. Highly recommend it. It was awesome. But I felt guilty because they gave me this like thing to fill out, and they were like, "Are you having like, muscle aches or like fatigue or like where's your problem area?" And I'm like, I just won a $50 worth of massage. I'm just here because I want to use it. So anyway, I was all zenned out and like relaxed and covered in nice smelling lotions, and then I laid down watching this movie, and there was a moment where I had to rewind because I think I just like did like a 20-second nap and was like, nope, gotta sit up.
How did this match your expectations, Jacob? Because I was very curious to see what you'd think about this one.
I think it was about what I expected. Like, I was hoping it would be better, but I think I knew that it wasn't going to be much. And I told my roommate I was watching this, like, right before I started it, and he was like, oh, boy. And so he had seen it, and I was like, okay. It was pretty much what I expected in that, like, the story and writing was not amazing, but I knew already that I would like some of the fantasy aspects because I remember it looking cool in the trailer. So that was about what I thought would happen.
Yeah. Now I want you to guess, what do you think the budget was of this movie?
I was
curious. How much do you think it cost?
I'm gonna say, because now I base everything off of Dark Shadows once I learned that it was $150 million. So I think this was about the same, $150 million.
It was more. It was $170 million.
Oh my god. See, stuff like this, not to be that guy, because I feel like it's kind of like listening to a podcast and someone saying something like this is sometimes annoying. But I'm like, man, we're going to put $200 million into this? Like, why? Anybody can, like, why can't I be the one to do this?
Yeah, it is weird. But but again, like saying, this is the producer of Alice in Wonderland. He probably had a lot of clout throwing around this movie because Alice in Wonderland just made $1 billion. They probably put this movie in 3D as well. And you have, Chris Hemsworth, who's coming off of Thor.
Yeah.
And you have Kristen Stewart coming off of Twilight. And Charlize Theron's already an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
And so I guess that made... And yeah, Alice in Wonderland made $1 billion, so...
That's surprising to me that it was so popular.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like Alice in Wonderland is, I think, the weirdest movie to ever make $1 billion because like it does not seem like anyone liked that movie coming out of it, but just everyone saw it, and everyone saw it in 3D, which helped it make a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw it like on DVD after the fact, so I gave him a little bit.
I think that was a red box movie for me.
Yeah, but yeah, strange film.
But yes, and the book is closed on that until we get to the Huntsman Winter's War in like 4 years,
and then we could.
It came out like 2016, I think.
Yeah, which was surprising to me that it was that much later, but
I know it's so weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Next up.
What a film. We go from $170 million to $5 million.
Wow. A real hometown hero. The kid from the small town with a dream.
The fan favorite with the lovely title, Piranha 3DD. Otherwise known as Piranha 3DD or Piranha 3D.
Threed.
Threed.
What is your history with Piranha 3DD, my friend?
This was my first time seeing it, but I've kind of been morbidly curious because I do remember when, I think specifically it was the end of 2012, and all the people I followed on YouTube and like all the movie people put out their top 10 best list at the end, and then they put out their top 10 worst of the year list. And this was, for anyone who had seen it, it was number 1. I'm pretty sure it was number 1 on like 5 lists that I saw.
Yeah.
And so it had this kind of like infamy building up in my head. And I think I'd seen the trailer a couple times in front of other DVDs I'd rented. But this one I was like, what did they do in this one? Why did... And also just the boldness of the title just sticks out so much. But Jacob, what's your history with this movie?
So I think I like knew of it just like from maybe seeing like the DVD cover at Target or something. And I think I had listened to the I think there a How Did This Get Made episode on it.
I don't know if they did. I know that Paul Scheer is in the movie.
Yeah. So maybe I just heard them mention it in another episode. But I remember I actually have seen this before, but I don't know if I finished it. No, I did because I remember the ending with like the blooper reel and stuff, which is maybe the best part, the funniest part is the real bloopers. But I wasn't paying attention. I was like talking to my friends and stuff and having a few cheeky drinks.
It was on in the background.
Yeah. On Tubi, because sometimes we'll prowl Tubi for something to just have on, usually a shitty horror movie. So I watched it today all the way through, gave it my full attention, and
your attention was glued to the screen.
Oh yeah, I had my notebook out. The thing that was kind of surprising to me was that I think because I knew it was supposed to be like really bad, I thought it was, and I think it is like mostly self-aware. So I thought it was like a, Sharknado type movie. I thought it was like making fun of those kind of movies while still being one. Yeah. And I guess it kind of is, but I was surprised how much it treats itself as a real movie. Like there's really like a story. It's not just like, isn't this crazy? I mean, it's like, they're not like laughing at themselves that much. They're really like, God damn it, Piranhas got out again. Also, this movie is a weirdly stacked cast.
Yeah, it has some great guest stars.
Yeah.
We got David Koechner, who
Ge-
plays the owner of the theme park,
Yeah.
owner of this water park that gets infested with piranhas.
Uh-huh.
You may know him from Anchorman. What was there? You got David Hasselhoff in an extended kind of cameo role.
Yeah. Playing himself.
Yeah, it stars Daniela Panabaker, who you may know from Sky High.
I wrote that down. My
And-
first note. Girl from Sky High.
Yeah.
Gary Busey is in it for a moment.
Oh my god, Gary Busey shows up at the beginning. My notes I put Gary Busey exclamation point.
I literally forgot he was in it until the credits said "and Gary Busey," and I was like, "What?"
And Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, and he was like the best part of this. Even though it's like a silly movie, he was really doing his Christopher Lloyd thing.
Mm-hmm. Which I think he was in the one before this.
He felt like a legacy character, like Han Solo.
Yeah, and then we also get Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames and Paul Scheer, quite the dynamic duo.
Yeah. Ving Rhames was definitely my other favorite part of this movie.
Mine too.
But our main cast of characters are these young kids. I guess they're supposed to be like college kids.
Yeah, Daniela Panabaker, I think they say she's in grad school.
Okay, because like they're like she goes, I'm just here for the summer, so I'm like, okay, they're still in school. But I guess got grad school, college. So it's like these three girls. Let's see if I can remember their names. Maddie is the main one, is Sky High. Then there's Shelby, who's blonde, and Ashley. And Shelby and Ashley's whole characters are Ashley has a lot of sex.
Yeah.
Shelby has never had sex. Those are their characters. But that's all gonna change this summer.
Dude, they don't even set that up that well. Like,
yeah.
Well, especially Ashley. Like, it's weird because this movie kind of takes itself seriously, and also this movie is an hour and 20 minutes, but there's at least like 10 minutes of bloopers at the end.
Yeah,
so
for
like
real.
Barely feature length.
Yeah. And they're like interspliced with the credits.
Yeah, to really drag that baby out.
Yeah, I know, because I always, with these films, I didn't with Snow White because Stars just kicked me out, but I usually sit through the credits because for you, the audience, I watched the whole thing. Nothing escaped these eyes. These baby Browns watched all hour 23 of Piranha 3DD.
Yeah, I wonder what this experience would have been like seeing this movie in 3D.
It probably, I bet seeing it in the theater with like your friends would have been a lot more fun than watching it by yourself at 3 p.m, like I did.
I bet. Yeah, but it is weird with this movie because the original Piranha that came out in the 70s, like, it was very blatantly a Jaws ripoff. But it was directed by Joe Dante. I haven't seen it, but I hear that one's like actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I actually didn't even know it was that old. I assumed it was like 90s.
Yeah, it's a movie from the 70s, and then they made Piranha 2, The Spawning, directed by James Cameron.
Wow! Was that his first movie?
It was, and I don't even know if he kind of finished it. I think he may have been fired.
I think he was. I think I heard that story.
Yeah, the story I heard is that he showed them some footage he made of, like, it was something with, like, worms that, like, they were in soil, and he, like, electrocuted the soil, and then they all came out, and it was, like, played in reverse, and so they're like, this guy knows special effects. He can make this movie where the piranhas fly. Yeah, that one I have seen just because I'm a completionist and have seen all of James Cameron's movies. And it is quite forgettable.
Yeah.
But then they made Piranha 3D however many years before, I think like 2 years before this. And it was interesting looking at the budgets because that one had a budget of $24 million. It made like 80, so it did well. Yeah. But then this one had a budget of $5 million. And so it was like, this feels like it should have been a straight-to-DVD sequel. Like, they didn't care at that point.
Yeah. How much did it make?
Oh, God. Let's see.
I'm curious now.
Scroll all the way down. Because I don't know. It didn't seem like it was in many theaters. Yeah, its widest release was its first weekend. It made 86. It was in 86 theaters. It made $8 million. Oh my god! It only made $300,000 in America, but
Oh wow.
But it made 8 million internationally.
Oh, that is good. Big in
That's so
Asia,
weird.
I guess.
Where did this make money? I do want to check.
The Amazon.
It made money. It made a decent amount of money in the UK, Turkey, and oh my god, a lot of money in Russia. It made the most money in Russia.
Oh, maybe whatever that Russian girl in the pool says is really funny.
Yeah, they all love that joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our story, or
Yeah,
I guess
let's-
they go right into this one. They do not spare a second.
Yeah, no wasting time.
Yeah, and they give kind of a news recap of I guess what happened in the previous one.
Uh-huh.
All these piranhas that got unleashed in a lake, and that one looked better than this one, I'll say.
Yeah, a bunch of piranhas got out in a Lake Victoria, which seemed weird to me. But then I'm like, no, I guess piranhas are freshwater because I think they live in the Amazon.
Yeah, and they say that their explanation is that they've been dormant in like these underwater hidden like lakes and stuff, which they just kept saying underwater rivers. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Do you mean an aquifer?
Yeah, because they're supposed to have been extinct for 2 million years.
But also, if they have been under there, they probably would have evolved to be like blind.
Yeah,
Because there are fish that live in aquifers that are completely blind.
which could be cool because it could be like well, actually, maybe this doesn't matter anyway. I was gonna be like, if it was like nighttime and super dark, and they're like, I can't see, but the fish can.
That's a more interesting pitch than anything in this movie.
But they are supposed to be like prehistoric fish, so they have like the big tough, like what do you call that? Like almost like a shelled head. Yeah, like a Dipnorhynchus or a Bothriocephalus. That's from. I only know that because in Ponyo, when they're riding around in the toy boat, they put their heads in the water and they're like, "Those are ancient fish. They're from the Devonian age. That's Dipnorhynchus, and that's Bothriocephalus."
Great Ponyo pull. Go watch Ponyo instead.
Yeah, Ponyo is a better marine biology movie than Piranha 3DD. But yeah, they get these. I wish they were giant. It seems like an oversight to not make them giant.
Yeah,
I guess they're a little bigger than the normal piranha.
Maybe they're still pretty tiny.
Yeah, they could even have like just one giant one that is like
the mama one.
Yeah, here comes the big hoss, and they even built. We know from the
Yes.
bloopers, they built a giant piranha to use in a dream sequence, which doesn't even look giant in the movie. It's like giant for perspective, so that they can have it cover up the whole camera. But when you see it from the side, it looks like a giant piranha. So it could have been cool if it's like, oh shit, here comes the giant piranha that's now out in the wave pool, in the Texas shaped pool.
I don't know how they would have been able to get, because they have these be like, oh, they're getting in through the pipes and stuff. I don't know how big their pipes have to be to get like a 5-foot piranha through.
They can just shove its way through because they show the piranhas are strong. They can get through steel, and the side of a pool, whatever that's made out of, plastic and concrete.
But yeah, so these piranhas, they kind of set up at the beginning of the news as like, okay, it got unleashed on this lake, but people are worried that they could get unleashed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Smash cut to, I think then we meet Gary Busey, who is just like a guy whose cow fell in a lake, I guess.
Yeah.
And then gets eaten by piranhas. Quite unceremoniously.
And there's piranha eggs inside the cow for some reason. And at first I thought they were looking for a human woman because they were like, Nellie or whatever. They're like, Betsy. And then when they showed this bloated mass in the river, they're like, there she is. And I was like, good lord, what happened to her? And then it was a cow.
She won second at state.
Yeah. But they like start poking this bloated cow with sticks, and it starts farting out piranha eggs. It's very classy. And
oh yeah, I forgot that has a fart sound effect. Oh, and also because one of them, for some reason, they have flashlights, but he's like, oh, let me use my lighter to look at this. And then the methane from the cow fart causes it to explode.
Yeah, and that sends eggs everywhere, which unleashes them on the public. I guess they go from whatever lake that is to going through underground rivers and pipes to get to the water park. The Big Wet, it's called.
Oh god. But yeah, so we meet David Koechner, who's the owner of the water park, the Big Wet, which I guess used to be his wife's. Who, like, he has a stepdaughter who's Danielle Panabaker, and she's coming home from grad school for the summer, and she sees that he is transformed the park into like an adults park. Like, they have an adults only like nudist pool.
Yeah. But it's also,
I mean, I've seen, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like I've seen places that have like adult only pools, and they're usually just quiet because there are no kids around, like splashing and stuff. But this one, I guess when you call it adults only, that means that everyone's nude. And because it's like super lewd, he has a TV with a camera hooked up on the ladder called like the Coochie Cam or something.
Yeah, this is an awesome movie.
It's a great time.
I think also he replaces the lifeguards with strippers who are water certified.
Yeah, I love that line. Water certified strippers. Oh, and he also says, like, because they're filming an ad, as they introduce, he says, our lifeguards are sexy, single, and ready to party.
Yeah, and did you notice it has prices listed for tickets, and it says, like, you know, kids $5, and then it's like adults $15, and then it says hot moms $10.
I didn't notice that. I think they said something in the ad of like double D's getting free.
Yeah.
And I like the image of like some high school kid that has to like measure a woman's boobs to see if she gets in for free.
Some pimply faced summer job.
Step forward, ma'am. Oh, sorry, you're just a D.
But yeah, so so all these people are coming to work at the thing for the summer, Maddie and her friends, and then they also bring these two guys along. One, the stud, who Ashley proclaims will take Shelby's virginity on this very trip. But then my favorite thing is that like there's like also like a nerdy character, but he kind of just looks like the like stud, but like 1 foot shorter. Yeah, it's like they gooberfied him. They put him in the goober machine and made him into a goober.
The goober machine.
And they just like pulled out his nose a little bit and like took out his hair gel.
Yeah, but so then it's really weird because then just like the killing just starts.
Yeah,
like there's no like reason the piranhas are showing up. Just they kind of like, oh wait, no. So what? So like, what's the? There's Ashley and who's the other girl?
Shelby.
Yeah, so Shelby goes with the guy that she proclaims is gonna take her virginity. They go for a swim.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, hey, oh, I feel uncomfortable. And what we don't know at that point is that a piranha has found its way.
Why don't you tell them? Tell the good people.
A piranha has found its way inside of Shelby's vagina.
Which
I'm
no, doctor. My mom's an OBGYN, so she would know. But I'm pretty sure there's I don't know. I don't want to speak for women, but I don't think there's anywhere for it to go once it gets up there.
Yeah, like it just kind of gets in there, and you think like, oh, it like eats her or something, and like maybe she like thinks that she's having sex with him, but no, it just kind of like goes in and
it like
stays there.
Later, I feel like you see something moving like in her belly, and she kind of has like morning sickness. So I think it's supposed to be like ironic.
Near her stomach.
Yeah, it's like immaculate conception. because she's a virgin, but she has this piranha baby. Also, it's kind of foreshadowed because Ashley says, "Oh, she's scared of sex because her sister gave birth to a quote unquote flipper baby."
Oh, God.
So I don't know what that means. He was born with like webbed feet or something. But then lo and behold,
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about this movie's morals for Piranha 3DD.
But yeah, so they go in, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I just like felt weird." And he's like, "That's fine." So at first he seems somewhat respectable because he's like, "Oh, like yeah, like no problem." And then later, well, I don't know if we should fast forward to what happens.
We can jump because this movie is so like there's no structure to this.
Yeah, it's just things happening in and around the park. Yeah. But anyway,
it's almost like a slice of life picture if you think about it.
Yeah. It's like licorice pizza.
Yeah, with piranhas biting off people's dicks.
Did you know that a licorice pizza is a vinyl? That's what it's like because it's a big disc. It's black.
I did not know that.
I learned it somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, this isn't about licorice pizza. Give us 10 years or whatever. This if you thought a 25-year-old woman having a relationship with a 15-year-old was weird, wait till you see a man get his dick bit off by a piranha.
It is so like because that was the one thing I had heard about.
Yeah,
I heard about the piranha swimming up into a woman's vagina.
Yeah,
and then later she's having sex and then it bites his dick off.
Yeah, well, actually, it's stranger than that because he. So this is another thing is I had some more anatomical questions because
there's so many questions to be had about it.
They're having sex. She's like, she's feeling sick and sad because she like vomits earlier. It's really gross. Because then Big Dave jumps in it like it's a puddle and he's a little kid in gum boots. So that was nasty. But so she's feeling sick and sad because Ashley has also gone missing because she was getting it on with her boyfriend and she had handcuffed him to a table inside of their like van.
Inside of this like shag carpet van.
Yeah, they're like mystery machine. And like the back of it is all like a couch and a table and like some beanbags. So you don't have like the back chairs. But she accidentally like kicks the parking brake out and they roll into the lake and get eaten. And
that scene was so weird because she's just like, "Oh, I can't find the key," as the van is sinking into the river.
I know. And then she goes, "I'm gonna go get help," which I thought was like interesting because it was so cold-blooded. Like she was gonna let him drown, or she doesn't know this piranha. She's just gonna let him drown because he's handcuffed to a table. Well, also it's like, you know, I don't know what else she could do, but like I thought it would have
try and break the table.
I know, it seemed like y'all could have pulled it off. But anyway, or maybe, you know, unscrew. It was because it was around the like, you know, it's like a little circular table on one leg, and it's like you probably could have unscrewed it from the top of the table and then just slipped off the handcuff. But anyway,
that scene was the one where I was like, okay, we've introduced these characters. Oh, they're dying already.
Yeah, like that's why I didn't really care about the boyfriend, but it's because I feel like I hadn't seen him until that scene. But like Ashley, we had been introduced to, so I thought she was gonna escape and then be like, "Oh my god, it's terrible! I had to leave him." And then they like go investigate and they realize he's been eaten, not just drowned or something. Because she even gets out and stands on top of the van, and then she still gets eaten. But
so that was a point in the movie where I was like, okay, this just wants to kill people. Like, there's not going to be any sort of story in this.
Yeah, and so that's why our other friend Shelby is upset. So then she's like, I feel like I'm gonna die from whatever this sickness is, and then she says, "Make love to me because I don't want to die a virgin." And he's like, a little weird, but okay. And
all right then.
And this is why I was like, he seems respectable because he's like, you know, he's going slow. He's like, you know, at first she goes like, because there's a piranha inside her. She's like, ouch, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, are you okay? But then this is where, because then she's starting to have obviously incredible pain, And
because there is a piranha coming out of her vagina.
Yeah, and she's like, wait, stop, something's wrong. And this dude just like keeps going. So I was like, even without the piranha, that's fucked. Remember, guys, consent can be revoked at any time.
Come on, wake up, kings.
I know. You guys are not on your Sigma male grind set if you're not practicing healthy, consensual relations.
This is exactly what will happen to you is if you do not respect her consent.
Literally, if you don't respect women, you'll get a piranha will slide out of her and latch onto your dick, and you'll have to cut your own dick off with a kitchen knife, which is what this guy does. Which I was like, stab the fish. Why was your first thought, I've got to chop my dick off?
Just try and like pick the fish off. Why is it or stab the fish? Yeah, don't just like and it's like one slice and it just comes off.
I did like how he had to hype himself up though. He's like looking down and he goes like, oh god, and then he goes, ah, and then chunk. He does a battle cry. And then the anatomical question I had though was that then Shelby starts like seizing and like spitting up foam, and I was like, it's out of her, she should be fine. Like I was like, what's wrong with her? And then she does wake up and I was like, oh okay, she's fine. But then she finds all the blood and she's like, what the hell? And then the boyfriend shows up, or not boyfriend, but just the dude shows up and is like, what the hell did you do to me? And then it just cuts away. And then they go to the hospital and we never hear from them again.
Yeah, we never see them again.
Yeah. So that was a highlight of this film.
It's definitely the most memorable. It's kind of the biggest swing, I think.
Yeah.
Excited to see another movie that takes place in a water park. There aren't enough good water park movies,
I agree.
in my opinion.
And isn't one of the other ones Jaws 3 or something?
That one's not really a water park. That one's basically like a nature exhibit.
Oh, okay.
Because that one's like, I don't know. That one's like SeaWorld takes place like on the coast, and so like it just has the water. It doesn't have like water slides or anything.
Oh, okay.
Like that. Although I would love to see Jaws go down a water slide. The only ones I can think of, the only good water park movies I can think of, in my opinion, are there's a movie called The Way, Way Back.
Oh yeah,
with Sam Rockwell. I love that movie. That's honestly one of my favorite movies. I love that one. Great, amazing water park movie. And then the other good one is Grown Ups, and that is it.
Oh yeah, is Adventureland a water park?
No, I think that one's just a theme park, so it doesn't get it. But also, I think I heard that The Way, Way Back and Grown Ups use the same water park in both movies.
That's awesome. They're just like, hey, you guys know how you already did Grown Ups? Well, you want to help us out? Oh man, I've never seen the end of The Way, Way Back. I remember my friend Darby in high school being like, this movie's so good, we have to watch it. And I think we were both in the play, so like we got to school early before the show, and we were like, we're gonna watch it on her laptop, and then a bunch of randos showed up and were too loud, so we only got to watch like 30 minutes of it.
No, it's so good. You have to borrow my copy.
I guess so.
But yeah, because I was honestly feeling like it was kind of it definitely was probably a budget thing. They basically had the budget of like a sci-fi movie or a Sharknado.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like most of the stuff when the piranhas actually get into the water park is just kind of like a piranha bites someone and then they scream.
Yeah. Like that's why
it's just that over and over again.
That's why I was like, I wish they were bigger, because I feel like it's not very like dynamic just to see someone get bit by a fish.
Yeah.
Or like maybe if they like in Hellboy 2, there's these little critters called the tooth fairies. That like eat people. They eat people, but they go for the teeth first, which is why they're called tooth fairies. But like there's just a horde of them, and there's like a cool part where they like wash over someone, and you can see him like getting hit by them, and then when they move off, it's like he's just like a skeleton on his head. And so it's like if they did something like that, where it's like, you know, they were like swarmed and then like but instead it's like they just get like nibbled and then the water turns red. The gnarliest part
it's so weird because it's just like, get out of the water now.
Yeah.
And there's always people just still in the water.
Yeah. Which is why I was like, if this was, maybe that would have worked more if it was like more of a laughing at itself movie. There definitely are comedic moments. Like they know it's not, you know, Hereditary.
Yeah.
um,
I would love to have seen Ari Aster's Piranha 3DD.
all of the naked people would have been like 45 years old and Scandinavian. um, so yeah, they have the big opening of the park. They like our heroes know that it's gonna be bad and try to get it shut down, but then like the mayor of Jawstown, the owner of the park is like, nah, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, and then they also reveal that he's like, we don't pay for utilities. We're pumping our own water from an underwater lake or an underground lake.
Yeah, which I was like, it probably wouldn't look like pool water if you did that. I feel like it would be like green.
It would be like ugly. Like it wouldn't be treated.
Yeah.
Like, of course you'd have like it'd probably go through a system that would be like chlorinated. But it would. But it's just like a means to an end.
Yeah. So obviously, the piranhas get in. And, but they're having this big opening, so there's a ton of people there. And Maddie keeps trying to get them to get out of the pool, but it's not working. And so people start getting eaten. And then included at the special guests at the grand opening are David Hasselhoff, TV's most famous lifeguard, is there at the opening, and he's like signing autographs.
He's the celebrity lifeguard.
Yeah.
Which he's not just doing like an appearance and like signing autographs. No, he's actually sitting on the booth as the lifeguard.
Yeah, and then like, but I guess he didn't expect to actually do any lifeguard work because he's sitting there, and then a kid comes up to him and is like, "Can I have a Band-Aid?" And he's like, "I'm not really a lifeguard," but then he takes a liking to the kid. Actually, that was one of my favorite parts, was when he gets to be a real lifeguard for but a moment and saves the kid. And then other special guests there are Paul Scheer, who is the caretaker of Ving Rhames, who had his legs chewed off by piranhas. And he's trying to face his fear of water by going to the water park, which I thought was funny. Yeah. This is like the best part of the movie.
It is definitely the best part, because Ving Rhames is so funny in this role.
Yeah.
Because he's just so scared of water, and there's a part of where he's like, I know I'm afraid of it. You just need to push me into the water. I'll confront my fear. But then he's like, no, don't push me in. Don't push me in. And then there's a lady. It's like, are you pushing that man with no legs into the pool?
Yeah, and because he keeps saying, like, he's like, even if I say don't do it anyway. And then and so Paul Scheer's like, no, man, he really wants to go in. And he's like, the hell I do. But then,
so that part was genuinely funny.
Yeah, and I wonder if Paul Scheer did his own stunts, because he gets like thrown ass over tea kettle into the pool. But eventually, you know, the shit hits the fan, and Ving Rhames sees a little girl in piranha danger, and he's, I guess I say little, she's like probably, you know, a teenager, but anyway, his hero instinct kicks in, and he's like, get my legs. And so he puts on these metal legs and goes into the water, which Ving Rhames, I don't know if you guys know, actually has legs. So that was a pretty good effect. I don't know how they did that.
I mean, yeah, they cheated it pretty well. I think they only ever... I don't know when they really ever show him. I think it's usually they just show the bottom half and the top half separately. Yeah. But yeah, he goes in with his titanium legs. The piranhas start chopping him, and he goes, "Titanium, bitch!" Yeah. And then he picks up one of his titanium legs, and there is a gun on it.
Yeah, a big shotgun strapped to it. And he starts shooting.
And he starts shooting them.
Yeah, and he never has to reload. It seems to be a double-barrel shotgun with unlimited ammo.
Yes, that's how they work, obviously.
And I'm surprised he's not just blowing away any teenagers in the pool. He's only hitting the fish.
Of course.
Yeah. And then surprisingly, he lives. I thought he was going to get eaten and it would be his like heroic last stand, but no, he's fine.
Yeah, because this one you could tell they had him for like a day at most.
Yeah. So that was another highlight. Oh, I forgot about one of my favorite things is Chekhov's trash trident. Which is the goober guy,
the lovely trident,
is secretly in love with Maddie since 7th grade, but her ex-boyfriend's in town.
She says, "I thought you were gay."
I know, that's like a shot in the heart. But her ex-boyfriend is this corrupt cop that's like in on it with the owner, So she's like talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
But we see the goober spearing trash with his trident, and it's basically just one of those things that you see like in movies, convicts picking up trash with, like the little spear thing. But this one has they put 2 extra prongs on it, so it's a trident to keep with the theme. But you see a bit of like it looks like a carton of milk or something, like a cardboard carton of some kind, flies by, and he throws it like a javelin and spears it to the wall, and it's like, I wonder if that's gonna come back. And then at the end he has to he can't swim. That's the other thing about him. So at one point they have to like go investigate something underwater, and he can't go with Maddie, so he sends her down by herself, and she's wearing like an Among Us mask, like a big circle. In the end, he has to be a hero. I actually liked that because he can't swim. He tries to go in after her, but he doesn't know what to do, so he's just like flailing around. So to like face his fears and overcome his natural fear of drowning, and since he can't swim, he jumps in holding a cinder block until he can get to her, and then goes back up with her, which I thought was good. And then of course, but before he saves her, he throws his spear once more, this time impaling a fish that was right about to chomp Maddie's face.
Yeah, if he was a little bit off, that would have gone right through her.
I know, or it would have just sailed off and she would have gotten eaten. And, you know, that's really difficult because thinking about how the light plays through the water, you know, his ancestors must have been, like, you know, great hunter-gatherers. They could
He's actually related.
fish.
He's actually related to William from Snow White and the Huntsman.
That's, direct descendant.
In another life, he would have been a huntsman himself.
Weapon of choice, trident. I wrote down here a really good Ving Rhames line, where he's like, "I'm afraid of the water," and Paul Scheer is like, there's like, it's a pool, there's nothing in there, just a couple kids whizzing. And Ving Rhames says, "Kids whizzing? I can handle that."
See, like, he makes lines like that work. Everyone else feels like it's playing this movie pretty straight. Yeah. Except for maybe, like, David Koechner, but I feel like even he doesn't get to be, like, that over the top.
Yeah. Especially later, he's more of the, like I said, like the Jaws mayor.
But yeah, so you get in, the piranha are attacking, and I was just like, because we said, like, it's pretty standard, it's pretty boring, like, when all the fish are attacking. And so I was trying to think of, like, how do you make it a little more exciting? And my main idea was, like, the wave pool is getting ready to start. And then when it goes, it's just a giant wave of only piranhas descending over a crowd.
That would have been awesome.
Like, maybe some piranha, like you see a lot of people, like, going down a slide. And then as they come out, then you see, like, it's a blood red pool filled with piranhas.
Yeah.
Just something to use the water park.
Like if they were going down the lazy river, and then they notice the piranhas are coming up underneath them, so they have to like try to stand on the floaties and make like a bridge of floaties.
Just something, because it feels so cheap when it's just like, oh no, a piranha's got me, ah.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes,
which, I mean, these poor actors.
Sometimes the piranha is the worst thing ever, and sometimes, like with the kid, he just comes out of the water and goes, "Oh, I got a bite," and it's like, you know, he only needs a Band-Aid. One of the gnarliest things, though, is the police boyfriend, like, it chickens out in the end. Like, he, I guess, feels bad about being part of it because he didn't know that people were going to die. And so he's, like, just runs away, leaving Maddie to die, which is why Goober has to save her. We should say she's not like damsel in distress. I mean, she is kind of, but like the reason she can't just get out is because they're draining the pool to get rid of that piranha's natural habitat, and she's being sucked down by the force of all the water, which is kind of scary. That's a scary place to be. So anyway, and then after she's already saved, he's like, "Get yourself together, man. Go save a life." And he jumps in and he's like, he pulls a kid out of the water, and then he picks up just eviscerated horribly chewed on corpse and is like, "Can I get a medic?" It's like bones are out and like has no head, and he's like, "I need a medic." And I was like, if there was more stuff like that, I feel like it would have been more interesting, because they did a great job being like, this is what a chewed up skeleton looks like. And it was really nasty.
Yeah.
But most people just get a little nibble on the bum. Yeah. I was like, man, they just really, it looked like you pack some ground beef onto a party store skeleton, call it a day.
Oh yeah, and so there's that one guy. What was his name? He was the bigger guy that worked in the park.
Oh, Big Dave.
It's like Big Dave, yeah. Great name. But he has like nothing to do. They just see him and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like humping the side of the pool. They're like, the hole where the water comes out is feeling good.
Yeah.
And he does that twice, and then I think a piranha is supposed to come out there and like is like biting his ass.
Yeah. And then Goober character has to pull it out. Which I was also expecting to be worse than it was, you know? Like, he just basically pulls the fish off, and then it goes, like, if you're gonna go all out, go all out. Have him pull some intestine out with it.
Yeah. But yeah, Big Dave pours, like, gasoline, I guess, down
I had no idea what that was.
And then drops some... Yeah, he just, like, drops a match, and then everything blows up, and there's, like, fireworks going off.
Yeah.
Exploding. Whatever, they killed the piranhas.
Yeah. And also it launched the trash trident into the air, and that fell down and killed the cop boyfriend by stabbing him through the eye, which I was like, I don't know that he deserved that.
Yeah.
like
make him more evil at that point. Oh, and because also David Koechner, like, he grabs the lockbox of the money and is like trying to get away on like a golf cart, and then just like there's like a low-hanging banner, like a flag banner.
Yeah.
That's just there, and then he just drives through it, and it decapitates him.
Yeah. I like that one.
Like,
that just would have...
That just would have brushed off him.
It definitely would have, like, just gone over, like, hit him and gone over, or broken. It's like the kind of thing that they hold for a runner to go through, but it just cut his head off.
Yeah, it slices clean through his head. I guess he got the razor-sharp banner.
Yeah.
But it cuts clean through his head, and then his head goes flying off and lands within the double D boobs of...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
some
that.
woman that's covered in blood, and then just kind of shakes it around it. And I was like, I was ready for the movie to be over at that part.
Yeah, and then they throw their head in the pool, which again, that's a time to have a cloud of piranhas turn it into a skull. It's not that hard, guys.
But yeah, we didn't really mention the stuff with Christopher Lloyd. But I mean, he's the best part of the movie that they go to see him, and he's been like, he's been studying these. And they're like, oh, no one respects me ever since my last book where I proposed the theory that the piranhas will evolve to walk among us.
Yeah, Fish Walk Among Us was the name of his book, I think. And that was an interesting moment, because the Goober guy is like, oh, I love that book. And then she goes, you read a book on marine biology? Because she's a marine biologist. And he's like, I just wanted to see what you were so excited about.
Yeah, which they don't even use the fact that she's like a grad student studying marine biology like at all.
Yeah, she could be like literally anyone else. All she needs to know, and it's not even marine biology, is how to shut the pool water off. That's just working at a pool.
But yeah, and so then at the end, everything explodes. They seem to have beaten all the fish. And then they get a call from Christopher Lloyd. He's like, it's happening. My theory was correct. The fish are walking. And then the fish starts to walk out of the pool. And the little boy that David Hasselhoff rescued is recording it. And his mom's like, get away from it. And he's like, it can't harm us on land. And then it launches into the air and bites his head clean off.
Yeah.
Even though the fish is like 3 inches big.
See, more stuff like that could have happened. That's the other weird thing, is that the piranha's right behind me, isn't he? But that was also, I found seemed somewhat unsavory, that there was this like this pool where it's mostly adults and like naked people, and then there's like also a kid is allowed there. I was like, this seems all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, well, because that's what I was thinking. It was like, because I get that this movie's trying to be like super exploitation. I guess would be the word to use, because it's like boobs everywhere.
Yeah,
boobs
violence.
And ass.
Yeah,
and coochie.
Yeah,
but then it's like, okay, but as a business, as a water park, which is like a family attraction, it's like, all right, what parent is gonna bring their kid there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's a very small group of people who are going to be like, a bachelor party at the water park. Actually, that might be kind of awesome.
Run by strippers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie ends. It says produced by Harvey Weinstein.
The scariest part of all.
About 10 minutes. And then we get about 10 minutes of outtakes.
Yeah. Man, yeah, executive producer Harvey Weinstein. I was like, boy, howdy. Yeah, that's just like this very, male gazy movie. But also, like, they were producing anything. Yeah.
So I doubt that he was on set every day, like, you need more piranhas in this shot.
Ay.
But yeah, I think we've covered all of our ground on Piranha 3DD.
So ends the saga of Piranha 3DD.
Yeah, Jacob, well, how did this match your expectations?
I think
Did you have any?
Not really. I think I liked it less this time because you
were paying attention.
I was paying attention and I couldn't laugh at it with my friends. I think it was just like, it's a very whatever movie. I kind of wish, I respect that they like actually tried to make a movie rather than just like making like isn't this goofy? But I think they could have had more fun with it, and it would have been more fun as a result if they were like doing crazier stuff within the realm of their movie.
I agree.
That's my main takeaway. What about you, Mr. Colin?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, my expectations were low. I'll say that, like, going into this, having the mindset of, like, oh, everyone says it's the worst movie, I'm like, okay, like, it's competent.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know, because there are points where it's like, okay, this isn't a story. It's, like, barely... Honestly, I take it back. This is, like, barely a movie.
Yeah.
Just in thinking about the story and how it is, like, everything feels so disjointed. It feels so kind of slapdash. It feels very kind of half-assed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not even a funny watch, and I feel like they should have pushed further on the stuff that they do with the piranhas, because when the piranhas are attacking, it was boring.
Yeah, and
which is probably its biggest sin.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the main thing. Also, I forgot to mention, the guy who plays the cop is like a main character in HBO's The Leftovers, which is like a really good show.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if his resume for Leftovers had Piranha 3DD on it.
That was it is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because he's so like stone cold, like his character as he plays his character, but then the outtakes, he's like a completely different person.
Yeah. I wish him well.
Yeah, hey, at least from the outtakes, it looked like everyone in this movie, they had fun.
Yeah.
It looked like David Koechner and David Hasselhoff were having fun.
Oh yeah, I bet this was a fun movie to make. Probably in the cast more than anything.
Yeah.
I could see you being like somewhere in the crew and being like, what the hell? What are we doing?
Yeah. But yes, that's it for this week on Feature Flashback. Let's hope next week's a little better.
It shall be.
And Jacob.
Yes.
Do you know what next week is?
Is it Prometheus? The Ridley Scott sci-fi epic Prometheus?
It is Prometheus with a lovely example of counter-programming, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Is this the one with Polka Dot Afro Circus?
Oh, you'll just have to find out.
I remember actually liking this one. I think it'll be epic. And I like Prometheus. Call me crazy.
Let's hope. I've only seen Prometheus once. I think also on TV.
Yeah.
So
it was the first.
So I hope it's good.
The first R-rated movie I saw in a theater was Prometheus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's scarring.
But yes, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. So Colin, if people are saying, I love the dulcet tones of that host. Where could they find you to see more of you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at cspalten, Spalten, and on Letterboxd at CJS Films.
Oh, very nice.
And where can they find your dulcet tones, Jacob?
I am also on Letterboxd at Jacob Sanger, and I'm also on Twitter at Jacob Sanger. When you have a last name that is not very common, you get your own name on Twitter. And on Instagram at Commander in Beef with underscores in between words. Yeah, and make sure to tell your friends about the show. We have a lot of fun doing it, even on weeks like this where it's not the best movies. It's very fun to talk about them, and I hope you guys like it. And share it with your friends.
And hey, if you want to watch a piranha bite a guy's dick off, I mean,
yeah.
Now you know. Now you know the movie for you.
And if you want to listen to two guys talk about a piranha biting a guy's dick off, have I got a podcast for you?
But yeah, that is it for this week. Special thanks to Sheldon Scholl for our theme music. And you can follow Feature Flashback on Instagram and Twitter. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. And be sure to rate, review, like, do all those things on whatever podcast app you use.
Yeah. And drop a Batista bomb on that like button. Suplex that subscribe.
Whatever that. But that'll do it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Good night and big balls. And from Wipeout.